My husband and I are small business owners, and 2.5 years ago, 6 of our team members left at the same time to open their own business. And it hit us really hard, and that lasted for quite some time. And when that happened, I stopped doing the things that I really do to take care of myself, and I spiraled off into a place of fear. Fear around what was going to happen to our business. Fear about more of our team members leaving our business. Fear of the survival of our business. And our business is our lifestyle, is what we do, is who we work with, they're the people that we love. And at the same time, I also expended a lot of fear on wanting to appear to others as if I had no fear. And I'm sure many of you have had the same situation where stuff's going on and your perception is that other people are looking to you for the answers and you have to appear as if everything's going to be fine, particularly if you have children or people that depend on you. That lasted for me for about 9 months, and it was like this long, drawn-out, complicated pregnancy. But thankfully, I gave birth to a phenomenal life lesson. So here's how it started. My husband and I were away on vacation, and it was the first time in a while that I'd had some distance from this issue. And I was in a quiet spot one afternoon, and I heard a message. And when I heard the message, I knew it was the truth. And the message was, Julia, be in your own lane. When you're not in your own lane, I can't do my work through you. And I keep giving you these lessons to be in your own lane. And it was like this aha moment. And suddenly the light bulb went off. I could see what had been happening for the last 9 months. I hadn't been in my own lane. I had been in the fear lane. It was beautiful transformation. And the clarity of it had me get back into my own lane really quickly. So what does it feel like to be in your own lane? Was first of all, it's being in your own lane. It's not doing in your own lane, and it's not shoulding in your own lane. I said should, right? It's not shoulding in your own lane, like I should do this or I should do that. It's being in your own lane. And the word be derives from Greek origins, meaning to bring forth. It's about bringing forth more of your uniqueness. Is more of your Tina-ness, more of your Molly-ness, more of your Kate-ness, is bringing forth more of you. And when you're being in your own lane, you're really connected to yourself. You know who you are, you know what your values are, and you live your life according to those values. And in that space, there's tremendous clarity about what you want to do, where you want to go, and you might not know exactly how life is going to unfold, but you trust it. So what does it feel like to not be in your own lane? And we've all had experiences of that. Why? Because our entire life is about being in and out of our lane. Part of being out of your lane is that it's tiring and it's impossible. It's like you're pushing against the natural rhythm, the natural flow of life. I was with a group of friends and they said, so Julia, what's your talk about? And I hesitated because it was like handing over my baby. And my worst fear happened. I told them what it was, and the room just fell into silence. And it landed like a lead balloon. And on that occasion, what happened was this voice. We all have this voice, right? This voice started to talk to me. I call this voice Damian. Is anybody here called Damian? I apologize, but we have a lovely relationship. We've known each other a long time. And Damian talks to me often. And Damian says things like, who do you think you are? Or, I told you so. And when I listen to Damian, I realize now Damian either slows me down or shuts me down. And that's a really good indicator of me being out of my lane, when things are just slow down, or when I'm living my life according to what that voice is saying. Fortunately, I've learned through this process of I've learned the tools to get back into my lane really quickly, and that's what I want to share with you now. So tool number 1, lesson number 1, don't believe everything you think, right? These are our primary brains. Scientists have proven now that these are our primary brains. Your gut, I call it my belly brain, and your heart. Not here. This is where the information starts and travels up to the brain. Scientists have proven more information gets sent from the heart to the brain than the brain to the heart. So you need to go within. You need to go inside. So that's what I did. In fact, what I did was I started writing. I started writing down what was happening for me, how I was feeling, like my deepest, darkest fears. I wrote it all down on paper. And it was fascinating because what had felt like this big, ugly, heavy thing inside of me suddenly was reduced to a couple of lines on paper. And it made it more insignificant. It was so helpful. What I didn't realize at the time was this. When you write, you access the left side of your brain, which is the more analytical part. In the accessing of the left side of your brain, you free up the right side of the brain, which is the more intuitive feeling part of the brain. So the more I wrote, the less paralyzed I felt. The more I wrote, the more I could feel. And the more I could feel, the more I could tune into these cues, these subtle cues in my body. And the most fantastic thing that I learned was this niggly sensation I get in my gut. That's the first clue for me that I'm out of my lane. Many teachers will tell you that you're either in a place of love or you're in a place of fear. And what I say now is, when I'm in my lane, I'm in a place of love. When I'm out of my lane, I'm in a place of fear. So now when I get that feeling, and I feel that before anything computes in my brain, now when I get that, the first thing I ask myself is, what am I afraid of? And that has me quickly get clear, take action, and get back in my lane. So my challenge to you is, what is it that you can do to connect more deeply to yourself? So it might be riding a bike. It might be reading certain books. It might be going fishing. Whatever it is, be intentional about putting your attention on that to connect more deeply with yourself. Tool number 2 is to connect more deeply with others. And that looks like a particular way of relating. When you connect more deeply to others, you're connecting from a place of authenticity, heart to heart, soul to soul, not role to role, not head to head, it's soul to soul. I realized that during these 9 months, let's just call it a 9-month sabbatical that I took from my life for a moment, but I realized during that time there was one team member that we loved, but it was clear that she was no longer in her lane with us. But during that 9-month period of being so afraid, I just hung on to her. I could not let her go. I was too afraid. Once I got clear, I could more easily see that we needed to let her go. She was no longer in her lane with us. And so we had a very heart-centered conversation with her and disengaged very amicably. And what I know now is when you relate from that place, you preserve relationships rather than just cut them off. So finding ways to relate to people in that way is so important when you're connecting deeply with others. The other thing that I learned was that during that 9-month period, my vision had become very clouded, and I got clear that I needed to take on the services of a professional life coach. Well, Damian had a lot to say about that because we were in the midst of trying to recover our business, right? So Damian's like, you can't possibly afford that. What the hell are you thinking? I was trusting my gut, and I thought I knew I needed to do this. Now I can see that that professional life coach was a vision keeper for me, while during this healing period, I could catch up. And she held the vision for my life, where I could live into the future. And those things are still unfolding. It's so exciting. I got creative solutions for our business, but I got creative solutions for my life as well. The other part I should tell you, my friends, I'm sure you've heard this, you become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Yeah. Look around, everybody. You become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. So I would ask you now, who are you hanging out with? Those people, you want people around you that are your vision keepers, that inspire you, that are your role models, that are your cheerleaders. So if you do one thing after today, go out and find somebody that is that for you and hang out with them. Not in a weird way, but I mean, like, hang out with them, be authentic, tell them why you're doing that, and spend quality time with them, right? Okay, so we got lesson number 2. Yeah. So number 3 is to connect more deeply with your higher power. Whatever you call that, whether you call that God, Buddha, Jesus, Spirit, universe, but spending time where you connect more deeply with your higher power allows you to access the nonverbal part of your brain. So what happened for me was I started to get up like an hour or 2 earlier than everybody else so that I could just have that quiet time. And it was really difficult in our house. So if somebody else got up during that time, I got kind of pissed off. I was like, this is my time, right? But so I was trying to be really spiritual and not get pissed off. But so what I would do is just I'd make a cup of tea, sit on the sofa with my cup of tea and my dog by my side and just be. Not try and do anything, not try and make any list, but just be. And kind of be with reverence. Like listening for whatever was going to come to me or through me. And what I've learned since is when you're in that quiet space, it is like going into the quiet space. You shift from the verbal part of your brain, and in the verbal part of your brain, you process information at 40 bits per second. You shift to the non-verbal part of your brain, where you process information at 11 million bits per second. It's like, let's do the math. That's amazing. When you shift into the nonverbal part of your brain, you literally log yourself onto the energy internet. And when you log yourself onto the energy internet, you get knowings, and you get knowings without knowing where the knowing has come from. That's how I got that message, right? Be in your own lane. That's where it came from. So find your way to connect to that higher power, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's being in meditation, being in prayer, being out in nature. One of my great friends, the way that she does this, she gets her hands in the soil. That's how she connects with nature. That's how she gets that clarity. That's where she goes to her space. Do that for yourself. So here's what I love about this. This is so easy. This is so easy. Be in your own lane. Tool number 1, connect more deeply to yourself. Find that way that really resonates for you. Tool number 2, connect more deeply with others in a way that's authentic and soul to soul. And tool number 3 is to connect more deeply to your higher power. And I guarantee this, when you do that, life rises up to meet you. It really does. That's a guarantee. My husband always says, Julia, no guarantees. That's a guarantee. Thank you for listening, everybody.